What's going on, dudes and dudettes? So, yes, USC did get one of the top wide receivers in the transfer portal. Of course, he's from Oklahoma, and Mario Williams. I told you a couple of videos ago that this might happen, but also, too, that he has likely committed first. The quarterback, Caleb Williams, will also most likely be coming to USC. He's just, I guess, spreading it out or going to take his time, but it looks more and more likely every single day that it will be a USC Trojan, so I guess I could be happy about that, but definitely more excited about the top wide receiver that they got. And then also, they did pick up a commitment from another transfer guy and a defensive lineman from Kansas State named Tyrone Talani. I believe that's how you say his name. But yeah, he looks like he's been pretty productive out there in the Big 12, which is always tough because all I do is throw, but luckily he does have some numbers, and he's a pretty big guy, so hopefully they'll just make him faster. He'll be able to play because USC definitely needs help on the defensive line just because they lost so many players, so they definitely need help. Then Anthony Davis has recently had his injury reevaluated, which always doesn't sound good because that means he was supposed to return pretty soon, but they're going to end up giving it some time, maybe another week or so, and then look at it again. But then the next day or two after, the Lakers officially said that they hope to get him by the end of January. So hopefully that is correct. That was about the 4 to 6 week timeline that they gave us back in December. So yes, hoping for the best so they can finally turn this crap around. Then really crazy wide receiver Brew McCoy, who obviously I liked at Modern Day, wanted him on USC. He did commit, then he leaves after the offensive coordinator leaves. He goes to Texas of all places. Then he barely plays or goes through the spring or summer workouts and then decides to transfer out again and come back to USC, but can't play that year. And then the next year he also has like some type of weird type of medical condition or some type of sickness he had that kept him out as well. But then once he got to play for 1 year, he looked pretty good finally, and then he had a domestic violence thing once again over the summer before this last off season, and now he's entered the transfer portal because of that reason, of that domestic violence stuff. USC didn't allow him to play even though he was not charged by the police or anything like that or the other people that were involved. So I don't know, it was a whole bad situation. Best of luck to him. He definitely is a talented player, but gotta fix that off the field stuff before you can get back into football, in my opinion. Then the Chargers fired their special teams coordinator, Darius Switten II. I don't think he deserved to be fired because they actually did pretty good. I can't even remember if they have given up a touchdown this year, which they haven't done in for so long. The Chargers through special teams, which is actually pretty good. And they actually scored once or twice once Andre Roberts came as well. So it was looking pretty good, but I just think it's the overall talent, of course, with general manager Tom Telesco puts on the field, which is why the Chargers suck at times on special teams and give up big plays. But yeah, I don't know. I think Dustin Hopkins, the kicker, was a really good find that they were able to get mid-season, that they didn't draft or anything. They just signed him off a Washington squad. But I think there's a kicker from LSU, Gabe York. I believe that's his name. He's definitely been one of the top kickers the past couple years. So just draft him. Usually kickers, if they're really good, get drafted in like the 5th round. So they definitely have a lot more picks in the second half of the draft. So might as well just waste it on a guy who is going to be really good in the NFL once he gets there, in my opinion. Then Jaden Williams, a cornerback for USC, has decided to enter the transfer portal as well. He's like the 15th player to enter from USC, which is pretty crazy, but I know he's been, a highly talented guy, a 4-star player coming out of high school, but haven't really seen it show on the field the past couple years. So once again, this is just Lincoln Riley's process, a new head coach, of getting everybody out that he thinks, doesn't deserve to be there or doesn't think that they're going to be able to develop into good enough players, in his opinion. So I don't mind this, but yeah, good luck to him, I guess. Then USC basketball the other day played Oregon State, and they got the victory before before they ended up losing to Oregon the next game. But I think it was like 84-71. So once again, they played pretty well, had the game in hand, never really struggled with this one. So they got a good double-digit victory off of it. But yes, as I did mention, they did fall to Oregon pretty badly the next game, even though it was a home game for USC, so they didn't have to travel, and yet they still lost. It's pretty interesting because Oregon has been pretty historically bad this year once they started getting into the Pac-12 play, and all of a sudden they blow out USC by nearly 20 points. So I don't know, very weird, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna stop USC because that's two losses out of the last 3 games, so they definitely might be jumping out of the top 10 once that comes out today or tomorrow. Then LeBron James recently apologized to the fans on Twitter, saying he's sorry and he promises that the team will be better, something like that. I mean, it's kind of obvious he's saying it right now because I think it was January 15th was when you could finally start trading certain players on the Lakers roster. So I'm sure they have something cooking up right before the trade deadline next month, and they're gonna get Anthony Davis back as well, so the record will look better. But it's hard to blame LeBron because he is putting up numbers, but you wonder if he's just putting up numbers just so he can play in the All-Star game in his hometown in Cleveland, and to also kind of save his ass because like, oh well, yeah, the Lakers record was bad, but LeBron played good, even though it is garbage time, a lot of his stuff. But overall, I think the Lakers will get better, so I'm not really sweating it, but we'll see with that whole AD crap. And then, yes, picture there, I briefly mentioned it the last time that Cam Reddish, the ex-Duke player, was traded to the New York Knicks with RJ Barrett, the other ex-Duke player. So it's a cool little pick there. Hopefully they get another guy or two from Duke. Never know. I heard that was more of a Kentucky team, but I don't know. They've been trying to get some Duke players. And then Grayson Allen returned the other day from, COVID. I think he missed like about 4 games, but in that first game he returned, he had like 16 points, like 7 or 5 rebounds. So he played very well just because other guys are missing and he had to play. But yeah, he's one of the top guys to return for that team, so definitely happy about that for him. And then to finish this off, yes, Duke played this last Saturday and beat North Carolina State. It was a pretty close game throughout, but they ended up getting the victory 88-73. At some point early in the second half, Duke was down, but they did turn it up, luckily, and also luckily that North Carolina State was missing 2 of their best players. But yes, a nice 15 plus or so victory for Duke. Paolo Banchero once again had 20 plus points, and Mark Williams, the sophomore, stepped up pretty well, the center. I know he had like 19 points, but he also had like 8 or 9. He might have had a double-double with 10 blocks, but it was definitely the last time I saw like 8 or 9. That's pretty crazy with blocks, and I think he's definitely going to be one of the better centers going into the draft, and hopefully he can be looked like not too fairly so that the Lakers can draft him later in the first round, wherever they land. But yeah, he's not been projected top 15 players, so that's good. But after that performance, he might be looked at a little bit more just because he is kind of like a Clint Capella who's with the Atlanta Hawks, who can play defense, get a lot of blocks and rebounds, and score those lob dunks or easy dunks. But this guy from Duke, Mark Williams, can shoot the 3-point, and Clint Capella cannot. So I think that's why he's more valuable than a guy like that. But it took Capella quite a bit to get going anyways in the NBA. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll see if Mark Williams does end up staying with that loaded team coming in next year for John Shire. But yes, very crazy overall week, and we'll see how this goes. Crazy wild card weekend. Most of my picks, actually all my picks, were correct. Picked Cincinnati over the Raiders, Buffalo over New England, picked Kansas City over Pittsburgh, San Francisco over the Cowboys, that was my upset, and Tampa Bay over Philly, of course. And tonight I think it's Arizona and the Rams, and I forget who I picked. I don't know if I picked the upset again or just took the Rams, but overall, pretty good weekend so far. Too bad I didn't bet So yes, thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye. Bye on.